So your assignment plan, where is your place? And this is important because you need to know to which or to whom you are assigned. And that not every place, you don't just take any job. You don't just take every job. You take a specific job that is tailored to your assignment. So your assignment defined. Your assignment is predicated on the gifts and talents you have. Fulfilling that assignment is based on your discovery of those gifts and talents. Assignment in general is defined as that task or work you must complete as part of your job or course of study. However, your spiritual assignment is a divine calling to carry out a divine purpose. It requires some discernment, preparation, and obedience to divine and earthly instructions to carry out God's intentions for a people, a place, a time, and or a season. Carrying out your assignment requires fear of the Lord, which means respect and honor. So if you think about it like this, Moses was assigned to the children of Israel, but Aaron was assigned to Moses. So you have to know if you are assigned to a person, to a group of people, to a particular advocacy, to what or to whom you are assigned. What is the actual divine calling? And then part of you fulfilling that divine calling will require obedience. That means you have to obey a divine instruction if you are called to a divine purpose, right? For Moses, it was to get the people out of Egypt. So that took some kind of exposure to that way of thinking. That's why he was, basically given up, and then an Egyptian found him, and so he was raised up in Egyptian context and thinking and laws and principles and notions and ideas, so that by the time he was to lead the people out of Egypt, he understood how to actually approach the Pharaoh at that time. He knew the mannerisms, he knew the standards, he knew the code, he knew the values. So he had to not only know that, but he also had to tune his ear to God's instruction, God's direction, when to go and when to stop, right? And you're not going to be able to fulfill the assignment if you don't know how to tune your ear. Therefore, you have to make sure that you stay out of distraction. All distraction is a form of setback. Stay out of it, right? You have too many people around you and you can't hear God, or you can't even hear your own conscience talking. You can't even hear your own mind telling you that this is not the right way to go. And then also your assignment requires that you have respect for the Lord. That means you have to have a respect and honor for the one who gave you the assignment. Discovering your assignment. What is your assignment? So are you assigned to a person? Or are you assigned to a people? Do you understand your limits, and do you know your struggles? So I've already tackled the first two. The last two are interesting because you are not called to serve the whole world. And I've heard someone say this: you're not Jesus Jr., right? You're not Moses Jr., okay? There are limits to your calling or to your assignment. Eventually, you're going to have to pass the baton. You can't live forever. So it's always important that you mentor someone else and help them plan as well. So part of your limits is understanding that part of understanding your limits is understanding that you have limits. Also, if you have not taken the time to master the knowledge and develop the expertise necessary to carry out the calling, that's a limit. That you cannot go at something with just a general understanding. That's why I asked at the beginning of this orientation, what are your general planning strengths and weaknesses and opportunities and threats? Because that's a general understanding. Then you're going to have to move yourself to a specific understanding of what you need to know. And then your struggles. Your struggles are interesting always, because do you have a predisposition to certain types of substance abuse or certain types of temptations? Do you have financial management problems? Part of carrying out the vision is managing the money. And if you have trouble managing your own money, or you don't have a respect for money, then you're definitely going to have a problem with it while you are trying to manage the assignment. You don't want people not paid. They all work for your organization, but you can't pay them, right? Not everything is volunteer. So knowing your struggles is also very, very important. Understanding your struggles should also help you to understand where you are supposed to be in terms of your assignment. So where is your assignment? Where are you most effective geographically? You can have the right gift and talent and be in the wrong place. So geography matters. So for example, if you have a gambling problem, it may not be a good idea for you to live in a gambling city. That's just in a general understanding, right? But suppose your gifts and talents are supposed to be used in a gambling city, right? In a casino city. Then you would have to make sure that you don't live near the casino, or you have to make sure that you don't visit the casino. I wouldn't want to set myself up to fail. There are many exceptions to the rule. I can't really outline them here. It's all very much subjective, because you can't live in fear. But I would venture to say that where you are is just as important as what you are. Your gifts and talents are important, but they may not necessarily work in every context. So say, for instance, you teach, okay? You have the gift of teaching, and you want to teach at the university level. And anytime you want to teach at the university level, you need a PhD to do that. Or you need to be in a doctoral program leading to a PhD. You can graduate teach and then move and transition into, say, like a lecturer, adjunct, or something like that. But you want to teach at that level, but something about the environment is not conducive for you to teach at that level. Even though all of the faculty members are teaching exactly the same text or subject matter, is something about the way that you teach it is not conducive to that environment. Maybe you are being hindered, maybe you are being blocked. I hear a lot of times people who teach K through 12, there's a certain way they want to teach a subject matter, but then the principal, the superintendent, the other administrators try to block them from teaching it in a certain kind of way. But you have to think about the learner, right? You have to think about the student, how the student learns. So using your gifts and talents, discovering your assignment and using your gifts and talents are very important, but it matters where you are. That you can find more success in using your gifts and talents with your assignment in one area more than another. Even though, and we often base our decisions to move from one geography to the next on money. But you can have all the money in the world and not be effective too. You can be in a very nice neighborhood and teaching private school kids, right? And still feel like you are uninspired. You just can't get the students to be inspired, which means that you are not really inspired. So you can have the right gift and talent, but be in the wrong place. It doesn't mean that your gift and talent is wrong, but when it's placed within the wrong context, it will produce negative results. So geography matters. How have you prepared for the assignment? So what is your academic preparation? What is your professional preparation? Are both sufficient for you to carry out your assignment? Will you need continuing education? People oftentimes don't think they need education. That's why you have all these people who like to push this narrative that college is not for everybody. But as I noted in previous slides, that college that you have to add to your existing knowledge base. You can't go out and teach people and not know anything. You have to understand learning styles. You got to know how people learn and think and process. That's why a good course in psychology is very important, because you have to understand the importance of applying knowledge. So that requires you to become a student of something that you will later rule over. So if you want to be the dating coach, the number one dating coach person, you're going to have to read about dating and in the sex market and the marriage market, and all of that is in the psychology literature. It's not just in these self-help books, even though self-help books are very important, because then it would lend credibility to any of the notions that you are putting out there. You won't look like a person who is just basically opinion based, that you will have what you need backed up by evidence. Also, professional preparation. If you want to have your own business, it's important to work for a business. And then when you work for the business, it's important that you are maybe like a supervisor or coordinator or something like that, where you have responsibilities for budgeting, scheduling, and supervising people. Anybody who wants an administrative, supervisor, manager, director type of position need to be able to manage people, need to be able to schedule people, need to be able to supervise, need to be able to manage a budget. Those things are very important. So if you want to one day have your own business, you need to be exposed to a successful business. And then you need to know if both are sufficient. That means that really speaks to timeline. Just because you go to college for 1 year doesn't necessarily mean that you are fully baked. That the 4 years, that's why they set college as 4 years and sometimes some as 5 in terms of the sciences, because they understand that it's going to take that much time to process you in the thinking of that major, because the college environment really is no different than the workforce environment. You're basically going to step foot out of one and into another. And then continuing education, it just depends on the field. There are certain fields that require you to renew your licenses every 2 to 5 years by taking coursework and completing those coursework for credit. So even if you don't have that as an issue, you always want to stay abreast of new ideas, new concepts that are appropriate to your field. If you're having a business, you have to stay abreast of new tax laws, especially if they're going to benefit you and your business. You have to stay abreast of, contract principles, torts, which is injury, harm. Anything that is criminal, you want to stay abreast of new knowledge. Knowledge check. So your assignment, considering your academic, professional, and personal goals, especially in pursuit of financial stability, answer the following. Do you know your assignment? So what are your assignment planning strengths? What are your assignment planning weaknesses? What are your assignment planning opportunities? And what are your assignment planning threats? So, for many, if you think about assignment planning, think about it in terms of you taking a course and the teacher has given you an essay to write, a prompt. So you don't write the essay on the day the essay is due or the day before the essay is due. From the moment you get that prompt, you need to begin planning. So if the essay prompt calls for 10 sources based on a particular topic, then you need to start researching those sources. Now schedule that, right? If the essay prompt calls for integrating certain kinds of evidence, especially, statistics, you need to go and begin looking for that, because it might take some time to find that kind of evidence if you are not familiar, right? If the essay requires that you go and interview someone, okay, well, time is of the essence. The essays are usually due 2 to 3 weeks after you receive a prompt. So then when are you going to schedule that time to meet with that person to interview? So when you think about the assignment, your life's calling, and you are assigned to a person or a group of people, your engagement with the work in terms of the preparation that you have to do, and your engagement with applying that knowledge to the people that you have to serve, that's going to take planning. So what are your assignment planning strengths? One strength could be that you're great at communicating what it is you need to do in terms of your assignment planning, that communication is not a problem for you. Your weaknesses could be that you're not good with timing, that you're going to give a speech, but you're just bad. You just arrived late. You are great at preparing the speech to talk to a group of people, but no one can depend on you to be on time. So that means you need to take that into consideration when you are planning out your assignment, right? Your assignment planning opportunities could be to maybe have a mentor to teach you how to manage your time, especially when you have to be in certain places. So for instance, if you're thinking about running for office, right, and you have to talk to a number of talk to people in a number of communities, and you got to get across town, and people don't like to wait. It's very important, because once you get them there, you need to do something with them. If they're sitting outside waiting and it's cold and raining, they're going to leave. So then you can get a consultant. The opportunity here, the assignment planning opportunity, would be for you to get a consultant to teach you how to manage your time so you don't arrive late. And then your threats, of course, are you. If the more you arrive late, the more people realize that you are not dependable. So if you're not dependable and trying to get elected, what makes us think you're going to be dependable once you are elected? So that's a big threat.